My question to you then, how come you see it so often on
You don't.
social
Because
media?
that's a good question, Andrew, because you're being propagandized.
My friend Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA, he goes to these college campuses all of the time and he debunks a lot of this nonsense, and we thought it would be appropriate to show you this one.
How many unarmed black people, on average, are by police a year?
Well, I'd have to look up that statistic.
Guess.
Probably over 50%.
Yeah, it's 15 people a year. 15. And that's not my number. That's the Washington Post that came up with it and did a national crime survey. And they even were generous and they said unarmed, meaning you had a nearby or you had a knife that you dropped. So you're talking about police for an incident that happens 15 times a year in a country of 350 million people.
Well, how come, my question to you then, how come you see it so often on
You don't.
social
Because
media?
that's a good question, Andrew, because you're being propagandized. You're being brainwashed is the name of this tour. And I'm here to tell you that you see it, so you actually don't see it as often as you think. This is emotional targeted videoing to have you think that something exists when it doesn't. We look at the data like, oh, it's 15 times a year. 15 times a year, and it's even lower than that. But do you know what does happen a lot every single year? Is that there's over 100,000 doses every single year. We don't talk about that. We don't.
should.
We should. I totally agree, right? But yet we have this whole thing about police brutality, and no one can ever give me examples of where there's too many police, and that's okay. I'm not just picking on you. Just in general, it's easy to get caught up in the abstractions. It's easy to get caught up in the parade and in all the bedlam. But when you dive into it, you realize that it's all brainwashing and it's propaganda.
Serious cred, Charlie, because you can see this young man comes in there wondering about this police brutality, police shooting of black people issue that the media has just so lied about for so long. Charlie calmly disassembles it with stats. 15 unarmed black people. Washington Post is admitting that. 15 unarmed black people. They never want to talk about the amount of black people that shoot black people in Chicago, et cetera, et cetera. You guys get all that. But then the follow-up, once this kid is confronted with the statistic, what does he go, well, why do we see it so much? And then Charlie calmly explains why, because there is, I mean, this is what every one of our shows about. There is an entire machine designed to lie to you, to keep you hating the people you shouldn't hate and keep you enslaved to a group of people that don't really like you very much, to be quite honest.